Hey everyone, welcome to Take 5 with Tom. I just wanted to take a minute to thank all my new subscribers. I know you have a ton of choices when it comes to YouTube, and it means a lot to me when I see people subscribing and liking and commenting on the content. I've got a lot more electronics and soldering projects and guitar electronics projects planned for coming episodes, so stay tuned for that. However, when I started this channel, there were other topics that I wanted to cover, and who knows, maybe I'll break those topics out into separate channels at some point. Today, I'm going to talk about business, specifically side hustles, notably avoiding the bad advice that's out there on them. Now, with my 30 years of business experience, including founding and advising startups, I've seen a pretty wide range of business scenarios. And today, what I'm going to do is share what I think sets a successful side hustle apart from a fleeting side hustle and how to spot advice that might do more harm than good. So let's get to it. So first, a little bit about my journey. Over the past 30 years, I've been involved in a number of startups, either as a founder, co-founder, employee, or advisor. Now, I won't say that I've seen it all, and I have had some successes and some failures along the way. I've been directly involved in founding or co-founding 4 early stage companies. 3 of those companies were profitable within the first year, each generating over $1 million in revenue. Now, 2 of those companies tripled their earnings by the second year, and 1 was sold for an 11x return on investment to my investors after 2 years. Now, my 4th venture, a turnaround effort called Gemmer that I was hired to run in 2016, fell short of revenue goals and closed in 2019. Throughout my career, I've also raised or helped to raise over $50 million for various startups. So why side hustles? Well, when I created this channel, one of the topics that I wanted to cover was business, specifically side hustles, which are essentially micro businesses. And while a side hustle typically involves one person, at least at the beginning, they face most of the same challenges of a larger business. Now, my research covered things like Etsy print-on-demand stores, ebooks, YouTube, and a few other things. And while some of the advice out there is solid, there's also plenty that's questionable, and it's reminiscent of those late-night infomercials that used to promise unlikely financial returns and the promise of a better life. Now, I want to be clear. None of what I'm about to say is meant to cast doubt on the claims of the folks behind the content that I reviewed. I'm sure that they found some success with the techniques that they espouse. My intent here is to call out where some of this advice could be problematic for you and share some of the successful approaches and patterns that I've observed as an entrepreneur and advisor. Now, on the basis of what I saw in my research, I want to share 5 critical areas that you should be thinking about when considering a side hustle. 4 of the areas that I'll discuss were not only themes that I saw in many of the advice videos that I watched, there were also critical factors in the success or failure of my own ventures. So be on the lookout for future videos on each of these topics. I could do several hours on each. So here are the 5 areas you need to be concerned about when considering side hustles. Number 1, having a unique value proposition. Now, most of the side hustle advice seems to downplay the importance of uniqueness. One piece of advice that I saw on a lot of these videos was basically find something that's getting a lot of sales or traffic, and that could be a product or a storefront. Make some minor adjustments to it and create something similar for your own experience. Now, I'm a firm believer in the notion that everything is a remix and that great artists steal, but I think this is taking those concepts a bit to the limit. Not only that, but while this strategy might offer short-term gains, it's hardly a foundation for lasting success. While there's nothing wrong with looking to successful stores for inspiration, research, and guidance, copying store and product ideas just didn't feel right to me. Think about the long hours and months that it might have taken a successful shop owner to build a lucrative business on Etsy. Now imagine thousands of content creators on YouTube espousing this method to hordes of new people coming onto the platform. It is a hugely dilutive practice that creates an insane amount of competition and commoditizes the category. In the end, all this does is destroy the price and the opportunity for everyone. Whether the goal is passive income or a full-blown business, you need to learn how to come up with ideas and products that you are passionate about, test them with consumers to find product market fit, and then make the continual adjustments to your product and messaging to build a lasting value proposition for your customers. Rather than going for the quick win, focus on creating a unique solution to a real problem or products that you're passionate about and develop yourself. This is a longer but much better path to a sustainable business. Number 2, platform dependence. A lot of advice that I saw falls into the get up and get it started in a day category. And that generally means relying on the strength of a platform like Etsy to bring you customers. Using platforms like Etsy can be a great starting point, but remember, they control the rules, fees, and algorithms that could affect your visibility and sales. Long term, consider diversifying by building your own sales channels like a website powered by Shopify to cultivate a direct customer base. This will help you build a company that can survive the long haul and give you more control over your customers with fewer constraints and more predictable fee structures. If your goal is supplemental income, you can't tolerate risk, and you don't have the time or resources to build your own customer pipeline or e-commerce experience, platforms like Etsy are a great place to start and learn how e-commerce works with relatively low risk. You can always take things in the direction of building your own experience based on success, changing goals, and your risk tolerance. Number 3, ethical use of AI. Another common theme that I saw was business models that relied heavily on the use of AI for generation of artwork, designs, or other content. Now, the rise of AI in business, especially in product creation, offers incredible productivity gains, but comes with significant legal and ethical considerations. In addition to ensuring that you have the rights to sell AI-generated content, you need to ensure that any AI-generated content respects intellectual property rights to avoid legal pitfalls. Now, while it may be difficult to ensure that AI-generated content hasn't been plagiarized, you need to carefully review what's being created and make a reasonable effort to ensure there's nothing that could create problems for you before offering it for sale. Number 4, the reality of quick success. Now, most videos that I've watched didn't necessarily promise instant gratification or quick success, but many hint at the idea that you can achieve success quickly with these techniques. Now, early success is possible, there's no question, but it's better if you accept that it's more likely the case that it will be a marathon, not a sprint. Anything lasting will certainly take time to develop. And just remember that any number of factors can get in the way of your success, so try your best to mentally prepare yourself for that going in. If this were easy, we'd all be rich. Once you have done the work and achieved high demand for your products or your product market fit, yes, you can generate life-changing passive income. But remember, there can be a steep learning curve for a lot of this despite what you hear in these videos. The amount of time required to get up and running and remain competitive can be much greater than you think, especially when starting up. Now, do you have to spend months or years and build insanely great products to build a successful side hustle that will generate decent passive income? No. But it does help if you understand something about how great products and companies are built. Spoiler alert, 9 times out of 10, great products are the result of a passionate founder solving a problem for themselves, and almost none of them were overnight successes. Number 5, action over hesitation. One piece of good advice that's almost universally offered, even in some of the worst videos that I've seen, is that you will achieve nothing if you do not simply begin. The biggest hurdle to success is often simply starting. So don't let the fear of failure keep you from taking that first step. Begin small, learn quickly from your mistakes, and iterate based on feedback. The good news is that the cost of starting side hustles in this economy is relatively low, so it doesn't take much to get going and the risks are relatively small. This makes it much easier for you to tolerate failure, which is a good thing, because if you're not failing, you're not learning anything. So the big lesson here is that if something sounds too good to be true, most of the time it probably is. Building a lasting business, and remember, your side hustle is a business, takes time. So set realistic goals. Don't just watch videos about how others did it. Read books from credible authors on business, network, and seek out alternate opinions. Also, be sure to ask yourself the question, if the people making videos about side hustles are so successful with their side hustle, why are so many pivoting to YouTube to create content on the topic and building courses that show you how they did it? The answer is usually pretty simple, and it's basically what fueled the late-night guru infomercial craze. Because selling the hope of a better life through a successful side hustle is often more lucrative than the side hustle itself. Now, I'm not by any stretch saying that these techniques can't work or the people dispensing this advice are deliberately misleading you. I'm saying regard it with a critical eye and don't make the leap solely on the basis of content like this. Do your research, but don't succumb to analysis paralysis. Remember, a lot of successful brands started from the same place you are and grew through persistent effort and a focus on solving real problems. And as difficult as some of this may seem, you can do it. Seek out the best advice you can find, do your homework, prepare for the challenges, and don't be afraid to make the leap. As the amazing Helen Keller once said, life is a bold and daring adventure or nothing at all. For some great stories and insights on how some of the world's top brands were built, check out the How I Built This podcast by Guy Raz. There's a link in the description below. And thanks so much for watching. If you found this useful, be sure to like and subscribe, and good luck with your side hustle.